Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time viewing my video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put in input this segment into the vlog I filmed, or if I'm gonna upload it as its own video. But regardless of the fact, welcome to my channel. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being here. So today we are going to be talking about the Philadelphia explosions. Someone on my Snapchat requested me to talk about this or give my opinion on it, state how I feel, or just inform people about it, which I am all for doing. So if y'all have any topics y'all would like me to talk about, discuss, whatever, make a video about, let me know. And I will most definitely do it, because why not? We on quarantine. What else am I doing? But yeah. So we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia explosions and what exactly they are, or what they could be, because there are a couple of conspiracies about what they could be. So when he asked me to review the Philadelphia explosions, he sent me this girl's Instagram story named Mikey. And he was like, watch her story and tell me what you think about it, whatever. And I was like, okay, bet. I watched the story. I was like, ooh, this is interesting. Let me look it up. So, since there are a few conspiracies about what it is, the first thing I looked up was Philadelphia explosions. And the first thing that came up was Philadelphia has been having a few ATM explosions with the burglars blowing up the ATM. So immediately when I was researching that, I was like, okay, my sources says there is about 50 ATM explosions. Now, when I was watching Mikey's story, she found that there were only 12 ATMs that were actually broken into, but 50 that were exploded. But when I was researching, I couldn't find the exact number of ATMs that were actually broken into. I just got the 50 explosions overall. And I'm not discrediting Mikey's work or anything like that. I just personally could not find it. So kudos to her for being able to find that number, but I personally could not find it. So yeah, there were about 50 ATM explosions. And, obviously, if things are blowing up in the middle of the night, people are scared. So the police, people started to complain about the explosions and the loud noises and things like that. So police were saying they were due to the ATM explosions. And that's what I got researching, just Philadelphia explosions, period. Then, this is where it gets a little weird. Then I looked up Philadelphia explosions conspiracy, and a lot of people think that the Philadelphia explosions are not because of the ATM. The ATM explosions, or the loud noises, are not because of the ATM explosions. And I was like, okay, well, what do people think they are? Okay, so when I looked up Philly explosions conspiracy theories, there were a lot of theories pointing to the fact that people feel like the government may be using sound and loud noises as psychological warfare in light of all of the protests and things happening. Now, if you don't know what psychological warfare is, psychological warfare is actions intended to reduce an opponent's morale. So in light of the protest, a few people think, or some people think, that the government, the police, and the military that were stationed in Philadelphia are using LARDs as a way to try to convince people to not go out and protest, because if you're staying up all night listening to loud sounds or whatever, you're going to be too tired to get up in the morning to protest. So that's what a lot of people were thinking they were. So you're probably wondering, what the heck what the heck are LRADs? What is that? Whatever, whatever, whatever. So, LRAD is an acronym and it stands for Long Range Acoustic Device. If y'all are wondering why I keep looking over here, my information is on my laptop because I don't want to be feeding y'all bull crap. So I definitely have my information on my laptop. That's why I keep looking over here. But yeah, so long range acoustic devices. And what they are is like they are machines that just emit loud sounds like all throughout the night, no matter what. Like sound is just being emitted from these machines. So if people are up all night, if people are up all night listening to these sounds, people are going to be too tired to get up in the morning and go protest. And you're probably wondering, what do LRADs have to do with protest? But what do the both of them have to do with the ATM explosions? And I'm going to tell you. So, in 2014, New York City used LRADs on their citizens during the protesting time for Eric Garner. If you're not sure who Eric Garner is, Eric Garner died at the hands of the police. He was murdered by police, and people began to protest police brutality, sort of how they are now. Like, does the story sound familiar? So, and that people begin to protest or whatever, and so the government came in and they used these LRADs in order to like keep people up, create disturbance, so people would not want to go out and protest the killing of Eric Garner, who was an unarmed African American man. Now, that was in 2014. So 6 years later, people are suspicious of the government using LRADs in Philadelphia in order to get people to stop protesting, or in order to get people to not protest, which is a form of psychological warfare. So in New York, people were obviously hot about this because a psychological warfare is definitely illegal. I personally feel like it should be illegal because if you are coming in people's neighborhoods, disturbing their sleep in order to not have to bring justice to a certain situation, that should be illegal. People have the right to protest, and the fact that the government is trying to come in and disturb people's peace so that they don't protest, it's a little messed up, and I don't like that. So I personally feel like it should be illegal. However, efforts to use psychological warfare have definitely increased as years have come. So yeah, whatever. So in New York, the police who were using LRADs, there were 6 people nearby these loud machines, and they have reported having developed migraines, sinus pain, dizziness, facial pressure, and just hearing loud, and their ears were ringing because of the loud sounds emitted from the device, since they were so close to the device. So they filed a lawsuit against the police to question like their use of the device. Like, was the device ethical to use, was it not ethical to use, whatever, because they received injuries from hearing these loud sounds. So the judge of the case ruled that the sound emitted could be considered a form of force, which I definitely agree. The judge says that the use of the device is no different than any other tools that are in law enforcement's arsenal. And arsenal is just like law enforcement weapons, whatever. So the judge said that it's no different than using any other tools in law enforcement weaponry, and that it has the potential to be used safely and harmfully. So it's up to you to decide if you think these are harmful or safe. The judge then goes on to say that using the device in close proximity was probably not appropriate, which probably Okay, obviously there's no probably. It definitely wasn't appropriate, especially if it's a loud sound. You wouldn't want somebody to come to scream in your ear, let alone a whole machine that is designed to just create noise and ruckus. So clearly they should not be used in close proximity to each other. Then the judge decided to dismiss the claims against the police commissioner at the time, who agreed to let police use the LRADs. The judge agreed with the argument by the lawyers of the New York City Police that the device did not violate the First and Fourth Amendment rights. The First Amendment is freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to peacefully assemble, the right to petition the government, things like that. That is the First Amendment. So basically, freedom of religion, things of that nature. The Fourth Amendment protects people from unlawful searches and seizures and things like that. So, like the fact that the police need to have a search warrant to search your house, that's the Fourth Amendment, basically. Simple terms. So, the judge rules that the device does not violate First and Fourth Amendment rights. Y'all can drop down in the comments if you think the device violates the First and Fourth Amendment rights. I personally feel like in this particular situation, it definitely violated the First Amendment rights because people were kept up all night. 6 people had injuries or side effects from the device, and it's clearly stated that the device was used in order to keep people from the right to peacefully assemble. So even though police weren't outright saying this machine is going to be used so that you guys don't protest the killing of Eric Garner, the use of it during the nighttime clearly shows what the intent behind using the device was. And I don't really think that's okay, because you're disturbing people's sleep for personal gain in order so that they don't assemble. And as you all saw, the First Amendment is our right to peacefully assemble, freedom of speech, freedom of press. People can go out and talk about whatever they want to talk about. If somebody wants to protest and have a speech and say whatever they want, we have those rights. So the fact that the police were using these LRADs in order to reduce the number of people who were protesting, or in order to stop protests altogether, that's a little wrong in my book, babe. That's just me. I think it's a little fishy, very, very suspect. So the judge, he was kind of full of it. Like, let's just keep it a bug. He was full of it. Okay, so the judge, even though the judge dismissed or attempted to dismiss the case, the plaintiffs came back and they had a claim that the use of the LRADs had also violated their 14th Amendment rights by using excessive force. So because of this claim, the lawsuit could proceed against the police. So that is the example of police using LRADs in protest and in improperly. So in regards to the whole explosions, not just the use of sound force, in regards to the explosions, I wanted to look up a little more. I tried to be really specific with my search and whatnot, but the only thing that would come up was the fact that ATMs were being exploded. Were being exploded and things like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so suspect. Why can I not find another source talking about different explosions in Philadelphia? And I was like, darn, okay, Google's not helping me, whatever. Let me go to Twitter, because as y'all know, Twitter be giving us facts that the internet don't be giving us. Like, the news could say one thing and Twitter come right behind them and have the real tea, like the real story or whatever. So I definitely took my behind to Twitter. And what I found was pretty crazy. So as far as explosions go, the Philadelphia Police Department bombed a residential neighborhood before. As I continue to look on Twitter, I put into the search bar Philadelphia explosions. Um, and I saw images, and I'll put all of these in the video, obviously. And I saw images of people spotting the LRADs on top of vehicles. So we have evidence that the LRADs are in Philadelphia. There were some people outraged. They said, this is a tweet. So now the U.S. has sonic boom tanks psychologically terrorizing people, but can't provide more than a $1,200 per person. But can't provide more than $1,200 per person in an economic crisis, or to health providers during a pandemic. And baby, that is facts. The fact that the government can come out and military can be there within hours, and curfews can be put in place within hours because of protesting and looting and rioting. But when COVID-19 was first getting big, the government didn't care. Donald Trump didn't said COVID-19 didn't even exist. So the fact that curfews can be put in place and military can just come out of nowhere because of protests, but y'all can do all of this for a global wide pandemic, I'll call BS. So one lady advised people, if they heard loud booms, to submit their formal complaints to Governor Tom Wolf for allowing the use of long range acoustic devices in order to terrorize citizens. So she says, go submit your complaints to the to the governor. There are many tweets where people believe that the LRADs are in use of psychological warfare. And there is one tweet that talks about, it's from an account called Anonymous for Us All. And if you don't know who Anonymous is, they're like this big hacking group that have hacked the government website multiple times. But this is a parody page of the real group. And they say that the Philly explosions you hear are sonic booms from jets, more than likely psychological warfare tactics. It's the military, not the police. And as you all know, military have been sent to different states around the country to defuse protests and things like that. But as you all know, like I said in my last video, there have been multiple instances where police are the ones sparking rioting and looting and all types of things. So if you're sending the military in to defuse the situation, why do you need LRADs? I'm not really sure. That's a little suspect to me, but I don't think it's right for the government to be like, we're going to send LRADs in, we're going to send the military in because people are protesting, when we literally have the right to protest. And they want to play good guys when we've seen multiple videos of police being the ones to ignite these protests and get the protests turned into rioting. So I think that's BS as well. But oddly enough, after I had did my research on Twitter of the Philadelphia explosion specifically, I got on another day. I got on the day after. So the day I'm filming this video, yes, I got on the day I'm filming this video, which is Saturday. I started my research on Friday, and there was this guy who is from Orlando. The original tweet says, we can definitely confirm this is some sort of auditory device. I'll put this tweet here. And it says, just a warning for, and the quoted tweet says, just a warning for Orlando protesters. The police department knows you probably won't know what this is. And when you see it at the next protest, it's a LRAD capable of producing a sound wave that can instantaneously pop your eardrums. Stay safe. So that's all the way in Orlando. So just to wrap the story up and clear everything up, because I don't know how clear everything was. There have been reportings of people hearing loud booms and sounds all throughout the night in Philadelphia. And when questioned by and when citizens started to question the police and things like that, the police blamed it on ATM explosions. However, there are several people who feel like the police or the military who are put in place during the climate of our country right now, they are actually using long range auditory device as a form of psychological warfare in order to get people to not protest, even though we have the right to assemble. And not only is it happening in Philadelphia, there has been images seen in Orlando as well. And someone feels like the government will be using them. The government will be using them in nearby protests. That is the story. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. Do y'all think that the government is doing this? Do you think it could be the ATM machines? Because like if I'm in Shreveport and an ATM is exploded in Bossier, I highly doubt that I would hear it. So I think it's really suspect. I think that nothing can really be put past the government. They're literally sending police out with tear gas and rubber bullets, and police officers are shooting people in the face, making them permanently blind. So I definitely do not put this above the police to use, because as we know, the government is not always by our side. And as you all have seen, the government is not taking too well to the fact that people are protesting right now. So I don't think we can put anything past the government. It's definitely a suspect situation, but definitely keep your eyes open. I think that it is very possible that LRADs could be used as a tactic to not allow people to protest and things like that. So, like I said, comment below. Tell me what y'all think. Do you think this is suspect? Do you think the government has their hand in it? Do you think people are tripping? What do y'all think? Let me know. Thank y'all for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, or all of the above. But yeah, like I always say, don't meet me here next week. Beat me here next week. Love y'all.